Story time, because I've actually had this happen to me before. So I had traveled a couple of times with this guy that I would say dating, not really seriously though. We went out a few times, went to Vegas together, and I think we might have been to New Orleans or something like that. We went on a trip or two together. This particular time we were in Miami, and before we'd always split all the costs of the trip. Like, he would get the flight and I would get the room, or, he would pay for this dinner and I would pay for that dinner. But this time, this guy was like, hey, don't worry about anything. Just show up to the trip. I'm going to get the flight for you. Just send me your money for your flight and everything else. I got it. It's on me. So I said, okay, cool. We were both pretty, well off. We both were business owners. So I went on the trip. And when we got there, we were having a pretty good time. He was taking care of dinners. He paid for the Airbnb. And I asked him at one point, when would you like for me to give you your money? Do you want me to cash app it to you, or do you want it in cash? And he was like, well, just give it to me in cash. So I get ready to give him cash. And I'm like, hey, here's your money for the flight. We were talking about, different business ventures that we were doing. And I was telling him how one of the business ventures that I wanted to do, I wanted to get to the point where it was making me $100,000 a month. Well, he starts getting all negative and he's like, oh, that's insane. I never set a goal that I don't plan to get to. Like, that's just you talking out of the side of your neck. And he just got like real, I don't know, just negative all of a sudden. And just his whole demeanor just changed. And we had some issues before, like where he kind of just all of a sudden flipped the script. And when they flip it, like I said, I flip it back. But this time he started to get all loud and basically tried to, start calling me names or saying just these mean, rude things to me. So I just got up, and while he was talking crazy and saying all these rude things, I was pulling out my suitcase and I was packing my bag. And, he was insulting me for a while, but that whole time I was steady packing it. And after a while, he realized what was going on. He was like, well, where are you going? And I turned around to him and I looked him dead in his face and I said, wherever the fuck I want to go. Because my daddy had taught me never to go on a trip or out of town with no money. So I got my stuff packed up and I walked to the front door. And as I was leaving, he was like, hey, you left your jacket. And I told him that was okay because I'd buy a new one. And before I had got to the bottom of the elevator and down to the lobby of the Airbnb or the hotel that we were staying at, I already had another place booked and had called an Uber and was on my way to my hotel and was going to be in Miami for the rest of the few days by myself. So ladies, don't go nowhere where you can't afford to get back. Because a lot of these men will use that as leverage to treat you how they want to treat you.